Even when you feel low, you can still go. Even when you feel slow, you can still go. Even when there's no hope, you can still go. I never answer to no, man, I still go. Go, 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 go.
Yo, what's up, ladies and gentlemen? It's always your hostess with the mostest. It's PKR, Pastor Keenan, back with another episode of People Suck. And yes, they do. But you know what? We got to love them anyways. And as always, I am joined by my ecstatic, exuberant, over-the-top, magnetic,
that thesaurus is really paying off over here. I'm just
co-host,
throwing them out.
Nick.
Nick. I'm gonna get copyright for that.
Probably so. How you doing, sir? What's up? Talk to me.
Oh, pretty good. Freezing, but pretty good.
Oh, it's so cold outside.
Weather has been horrible.
Man. It's supposed to be back, like, it's Tuesday night here. It's like 30 degrees. I think it's supposed to be back in the 50s, though, the rest of the week.
Amen.
So it's like a heat wave, bro. I'm ready. I'm already ready.
All those people listening who live in places where it's like ice cold.
Yeah, I know,
they're
yeah,
just like, these freaking babies.
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
It's like, I am not built for the winter.
Oh, I'm not either,
any way,
man.
shape, or form.
I've always said this, and I don't know what kind of ecosystem it would mess up or what kind of animals I would kill, but I'm like, I would gladly, if I could get 80 degrees sunshine 5 days a week, little southwest breeze, about 5 to 7 miles an hour. I know that's pretty specific, but it makes a difference, I feel like. 5 days, 80 degrees, sunny, little southwest wind going. I would gladly give 2 days a week if I could pick them. Can't be the weekend. Maybe like a random Tuesday, and then like a Thursday or something. I would gladly give 2 days of rain every week if I could get 5 good days.
I mean, rain doesn't even bother me. Like, it can be hot and rainy, but like if it's cold, period.
Yeah,
like I'm just like, no, I'm good.
Hot and rain doesn't bother me. Cold and rainy, like 50 and rainy or 45 and rainy, that sucks, dude. Like, I don't care. Like,
I'm a firm believer that anything below 50 sucks.
Oh yeah, I about call in on Sundays. I ain't even gonna lie about it. Like, if I walk out and it's 45 and raining, I'm like, man, like, who do I call to say I'm not gonna be there?
I saw it was like 25 degrees this morning. I was like, I ain't going to work.
Oh man, but no joke. Like, I seen the weather and I was like, oh my god. I was like, it's gonna be cold. I walked out to start my car this morning and I was like, it feels like it's warmer out here right now than what it was yesterday. But to me, I mean, the wind makes a huge difference. Like,
wind is definitely a big.
Yeah,
big
so
problem.
I was out running around at like 4:30 this morning, going to start up my car, and I was like, it actually feels pretty good out here right now. Like, for 30, I think it was like right at 32, 31, something like that. I
feel like it was colder than that this morning. You got up earlier than I did.
It might have been. I don't know. And it might have actually trended off because I think the high today was supposed to be like, 36, 35?
The low was like 25 or something.
Yeah,
like that.
man. So, I mean, honestly, I might have caught it on the decline this morning, and it actually got a little bit colder as the day went on.
So now for the 7-day forecast, everybody will turn around and look at the...
I thought this was a Christian podcast, and y'all are talking about the weather. You've done put me to sleep, man. As always, we want to say thank you so much for hitting the download button, for telling your friends and family and all that good jazz. Nick had some amazing news for us. We added another country this week, man. Who was it?
Tell me how much you know about Namibia.
Namibia. I thought that was close to my belly button. But other than that, I don't know too much
close
about it.
Close to the belly button of Africa. I think. I don't know.
Well, there you go, man. But. So, shout out to Namibia.
Namibia. Nam, like Nam, like Vietnam.
Yeah.
And Namibia, something like
Namibia.
that. I've misspelled it about 3 times trying to type it out.
We have completely butchered this country, so we do apologize to the people who are now listening there. We do apologize. But, hey, shout out, man. Thank you so much. But thank you to everybody else as well, man. We love adding countries. We love adding states. We love adding listeners and people. It's amazing, man. So just keep on doing what you're doing. Tell your friends, tell your family. Hit that download button, man. And tonight, I just want to get something off my chest, and it ain't the 4 hairs that I got. I want to get something
standing up loud and proud.
Oh, there they are. Yeah. Whenever I shout this one, man, they're gonna go straight. Anyways, I want to get something off my chest tonight. Like, I do TikToks about every day. It's just short videos. I think they're short sometimes. I mean, like,
not short enough, but they're short.
Yeah, not short enough for YouTube Shorts, but they're short. Minute and a half, something like that. Like, if you don't have 90 seconds to listen to something, then what are you doing in life? I guess I don't know. I mean, what's really important at that point? But anyways, I do videos every day, and I am not perfect.
Shocker.
That was supposed to be your point, to be like, yeah, Keenan, you're pretty close. You're supposed to build me up, bro.
As close to Jesus as possible.
There you go, man. You're supposed to build me up. Anyways, you missed your cue on that one. So
Gandhi ain't got nothing on you.
There you go, man. Now I'm feeling good.
He ain't got nothing on Jesus either.
The lights are shining brighter in here right now. Anyways, but so like I know I'm not perfect, man, but at the end of the day, too, like I try to never lead people astray from what I feel like the Word says. Mm-hmm. I try my best to listen to the Holy Spirit, to let the Holy Spirit convey what I read into my mind, translate it, and then what I speak is what I feel like the Holy Spirit has deposited into my life. But I guess what really gets me is that even though you feel like you're doing something good, you feel like you're doing something great, you're spreading the gospel, hopefully ears are out there listening to it, people are taking it in, and I'll get a random message sometimes, from people that's anywhere in the U.S. or whatever, keep doing what you're doing, and like that really does. I mean, like, we don't do this it's just like the podcast, we don't do this for hand claps, but it's also nice, whenever you get that email that says, hey, you've added a state, hey, you've added a country, and you're like, man, that's fantastic. But no matter, it seems like how good you try to do, like there's always going to be those people out there that are like coming at you, and it's not even to me. Sometimes, Nick, it's not even the haters. Like I deal more with religious people than what I do with atheists. You know what I'm saying? Like I deal more with people who literally think that they are so schooled and knowledgeable in the Word of God that it's like, oh, you've said this wrong, and oh, you're leading people, and I'm like, what?
Atheists aren't challenged by theology; only religious people.
Man, that's a T-shirt.
Yeah,
it's a lot of a T-shirt, but it's on could be on a T-shirt. Which, by the way, we do have merch at Fruition Church. You should probably try to buy some sometime or something. But anyways,
send us your address and Venmo it. We'll
absolutely. Yeah, we'll ship it out, man. We'll definitely take some orders.
Check it out on Facebook.
Yeah, absolutely. But that's something that I just wanted to get off my chest. So I put out a video, man. I think it was last week, something like that. And I'm going to play it really quick. I'm going to put it through the microphone right here, and I'm going to play it so you can listen to it. And then I'm going to read you the comment that was left after this video. So let me get it back here real quick.
What is up, ladies and gentlemen? Driving Thoughts Tuesday. As I was reading the Bible last night, I found a spot where Peter healed a woman, brought her back from the dead, and he done it in the exact same way as Jesus done that 12-year-old little girl. He cleared the room, Jesus did, and then he began to speak life over her. Well, Peter done the same thing to a woman named Tabitha, cleared the room, and then began to pray and speak life over her, and she came back from the dead. Which brought me to this point. Even though we cannot be Jesus, we can spend enough time with Jesus that we can truly figure out who we are. And that is the most important thing. We will never be perfect. We will never be Him. But what we can be is who He's called us to be. And how we find that out is by spending as much time with Him as possible. Be blessed.
All right, so there it was. I don't know how long that was exactly. Maybe a minute. I don't know. I get this comment, and it says this. It says, false. To say nobody is perfect is false. And that type of teaching is leading sheep to slaughter. That was the comment. So
Catholic?
I don't know. So I commented back. I said, nobody outside of the dude I talk about in my videos, #Jesus, is perfect, my friend. We all sin. We all fall short and make a ton of mistakes. Now, again, I feel like I'm on the right path still.
Mm-hmm. I wouldn't shoot you down.
Right. False. We are not all sinners. Jesus came to set us free. You're either free from sin or bound by it. It's a commandment. Well, now watch this. It's a commandment to be ye perfect as your Father in heaven is perfect. It's also a commandment to go and sin no more. Now,
man, I didn't know there was 13.
We're right. So that's like, so then I say this, I and of course, I mean, after I said this, like nobody, like it's been crickets, but I said, well, my friend,
obviously not perfect.
Yeah, right. I'm so tore up right now. Well, my friend, if you've achieved perfection, please take the time to pray for a sinner who needs Jesus' grace and forgiveness. I'll never outgrow his grace. That's what that was what I commented back. Now, to me, I'm like, I'm out here, man, and I don't feel like I said anything in that minute video that was going to lead anybody astray from Jesus. I truly believe within my heart, Nick, that the more time that you spend with him, that the more you'll figure out who you are in him. I think it's a direct reflection of that. I think Peter, who saw that miracle with the 12-year-old girl, saw the same thing happen with Tabitha and knew exactly what to do. I think he saw it to a point of where he was like, you know what? I've seen Jesus do it. Jesus transferred that power to me. And so now I have the ability through Jesus to be able to do that. That was the message that I was trying to convey. And you could go back and listen. And I said, nobody is perfect.
False.
False. We will never be him. Evidently, false. So this guy tries to jump on, and to me, is starting to lead people astray in his own way, because he says it is also a commandment to go and sin no more. Now, I don't find anywhere in the original 10 where it says, now go and sin no more. I don't see that. Now, I find many places in the Bible where Jesus healed somebody, where Jesus forgave somebody, where Jesus, and he would say, go and sin no more. Now, I want us to understand this, and this is just my kind of like, how can I say it? This is my view. There's no documentation after these people encountered Jesus. A lot of people, there's no documentation of what these people done. You know what I'm saying? There's no documentation of how the rest of their life truly planned out. Now, you got the disciples, you got Peter, you got Paul, you got people like that, like you see them. But these people that Jesus healed, delivered, and set free, like there's no documentation that says, after Jesus healed them or after Jesus saved their life, that, that they went on and lived this perfect life of where, to me, the question becomes, if you're so perfect, why do you even need Jesus?
I
mean,
according to this guy.
But to me, it's like I start looking at it from an angle of like where I'm like, this is the reason why people don't want to come to church. This is the reason why people are looking and going, Christians can't even get along on Facebook, on TikTok, on whatever, Instagram, whatever. Like, they can't even be unified, with each other on social media, but yet they talk about this message of healing and message of camaraderie and this message of unity. And, they're fighting over something that, like, again, if you go back and listen to the video, I just said, and that's what I believe. Nobody's going to be perfect. Who's going to be perfect? And if I'm perfect, why do I need Jesus? Why did Jesus even, so what you're telling me is Jesus died on the cross so that once I accept him as my Lord and Savior, I will never need to pray again. I will never need to seek him again. I'll never need to talk to him again because now I'm perfect. I'm perfect. Is that what you're telling me?
I mean, to me, I'm kind of, I don't know.
Let's play devil's advocate.
Play devil advocate.
Yeah, let's play devil's advocate. Hang on, I'm going to ask you a question, man. You speak whenever you're spoken to. Okay. But to me, if you're a non-believer and you're scrolling through TikTok, all right, and you come up on my video and you listen to the video and you're like, all right, I'm going to read the comments really quick, and then you read the comments. And you hear what I say, but then you read what this dude says. And you're like, what? Like, I don't know. Like, that's really weird. It's confusing. It's a lot of gray areas. Do I even need to learn about this Jesus guy? Do I need to, from what this guy's saying, I mean, I don't have to do much. As soon as I know who God is, I'm good. So, like, what does that where does that put you at in a position of a believer? or a non-believer. I'm sorry, non-believer.
From a non-believer perspective, I mean, and I think that's just one of the biggest problems with. I can't say it's the biggest problem, but I think it's one of the biggest problems with non-believer. People out there who are questioning, who are atheists, who are agnostic, who don't believe, who are maybe even thinking of trying to believe, or they used to believe. Anyway, if you're in that category, I think one of the biggest things that big old bubble, that wide path. If you're in that or walking that wide open path, I think one of the biggest things that pushes you away from it are people, bickering. And again, there are things in the Bible that says, to correct false doctrine, to call out false teachers, and all that kind of stuff. But it also says to try to avoid disputes, and to prevent other people from looking at you and seeing the world when they're supposed to see Jesus.
Right.
And so, in that in and of itself causes another issue, which is contradiction. A lot of people get confused by contradiction within the Bible.
Well, I even thought, to myself, I'm like, dude, just reading your comment, I need Jesus.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? What are we supposed to do? And I guess maybe my next question is that, I guess there's so many keyboard warriors. We figured that out. We live in that era now. Is it just easy to throw your opinion out there? Is that what it is? Do you think that your opinion is going to just change the masses of millions of people? Or I try to put myself in other people's shoes, and I'm like, well, what did you hope to resolve by this? What did you hope to gain by this? What did you? Are you going to sleep better tonight? Internet troll 1, internet 0. I'm undefeated. I'm going to sleep good. What are we what are you accomplishing by, to me, if I have a problem with something that somebody posts, to me, this is just me personally, I'm either going to A, unfollow them, right? B, I may make a video myself and just kind of say, hey, I seen this today. This is kind of my opinion on it. Read, research, do your research, do your due diligence. Come and talk to me.
At least put the effort into making a video. If you're going to get on here and I think I saw there was a podcast I was listening to. They were talking about these people on TikTok.
You listen to other podcasts besides ours?
I do. And they're better than ours. No,
but if you would learn how to do this whole videotape thing we've been talking about,
one day maybe.
Yeah, I'm just saying.
If we had a spot to do it in, that wasn't a bulletin board with crappy.
We're in the back corner of the church, man. It is a spot.
Back corner of a church on a pew we didn't even know was here.
Yeah.
And I think, but there's a lot of people out there that I feel like they just like to be an observer, because basically what I was getting at is in this podcast they were giving some statistics about the percentage of TikTok users who have never posted a video. And it grew exponentially during the pandemic because everybody was getting on there just watching other people do stuff, which is why so many people got so rich off TikTok and things of that nature. And they were talking about, why is it, why create a TikTok account if you're not going to make videos, if you're not going to put content out, why voice your opinion if you're not going to stand behind it?
Right.
There are a lot of conversations surrounding that, and as you were talking about, the whole internet troll thing, and that's just something that I've been on a kick about is, it just cracks me up is that there are people, and this is kind of in the same, wavelength that we're talking about here, but, I was talking to a mother-in-law, I think the other day about how there's so many pages out there, like Facebook pages, that do nothing but spread false information,
right?
And specifically, about because I like superheroes, movies, video games, things of that nature. And there's a lot of pages out there that like to post fake leaks, oh, this person was cast as this, or hey, this movie's coming out then, or hey, here's a movie poster for this, even though you can clearly tell that this stuff is fan made, that it's fake, that it's not real. But there's people on there. Same with internet scams. They're like, hey, my son died, and I can't stand looking at his PS5 anymore in his room, so I'm going to give it away to somebody to make them happy. And people fall for this stuff, right?
Yeah,
it's a very big scam. That's why you disappeared without your kidney. But I think
seriously, man. See, I just fell for that.
All of this stuff.
There was a woman who literally had her son. She said her son passed, and she didn't want to. She didn't want to look at his PS5. That's what I got. Man, I feel so played right. That's what I got you for Christmas.
It's fine. I mean, it's probably just like a PS1, PS2 glued together or something, but I mean, it's fine. But again, what I'm trying to get at is there's a lot of people out there who create content for the sole purpose of misleading, redirecting, screwing around people. And these people, and this is what cracks me up, is like these people, these pages have thousands upon thousands upon thousands of followers.
It's like the more radical I feel like you get, or the more like out in left field, is people are drawn to that.
They're drawn by the louder voices, the absurdity.
Well, it's kind of like you said, like in our videos, or like in my videos or whatever. It's like, we have a certain span of time to hit somebody with attention, and it's like if you don't throw that catchphrase, if you don't throw that punchline out in the first maybe 5-10 seconds, people are good. I do it myself. Like if something doesn't captivate my attention in that video, I just scroll.
Yep, scroll.
Yeah, we just keep scrolling. And so, that's why, like, again, a lot of people, so you throw the punchline out to get people's attention, but then people aren't invested enough to listen to the rest of the video. So like I could say, and I mean, again, I'm going to throw this punchline out. God loves gay people. Now, you're going to have people who hear that, and they're going to be like, well, yes, he does. Absolutely. And then, I would go on to say, well, yes, he does. Absolutely. Because they are God's creation. Does that mean that God loves their lifestyle? Like you got to go read the Bible about that. What I'm trying to tell you is that some people would be like that and be like, "Oh my God, that preacher out there, he, and they would just shut you off as soon as they done that, And then the other side wouldn't even listen to the video and be like, "Oh, we need more people like that." It's like that's not all I said. You need to go read the rest of it or listen to the rest of it. And I guess maybe that's more than anything to me, is that people are so superficial and surface level on situations.
But we live in a very reactive culture. And I talk about that a lot to a lot of different people.
Yeah.
Like I feel like it's just it's one of the biggest problems. I've talked about it on the podcast a couple times, I'm sure, just talking about like people are so reactive. They're so quick to see something and react to it. They're either going to, they see something, they say something. They see something, they do something.
Yeah.
They don't stop. They don't think about the consequences. They don't think through their actions. They don't think about what could happen, what could be meant. They don't watch the whole video.
Yeah.
They just say something, they do something, they react quickly.
Yeah.
They want to get the attention. They want to get the impact. And I think that's where we get into so much trouble as a society, is we just react to everything. We don't take the time to think and to formulate thoughts and ideas. We just sit there and we spurt out stuff all the time.
And not only that, I think we live in such a information age to where like it's the algorithms that come with social media and with stuff that that are on your phones and internet and everywhere else these days. It's like, if you want to believe something, your phone and your computer will keep on feeding you enough information that you will buy into it. If I want to be a conspiracy theorist and believe that, that the government is running this plot against us to literally whatever, like to separate us and to put us in like, little camps and stuff one day and out in the middle of Nebraska and put fences up, like, if I say that, and if I believe there's enough information out there, Nick, that I can go and I can start piecing stuff together and be like, oh my God, there is a plan. 2020, you know what I'm saying?
Like
and
that meme of like Charlie from Always Sunny or whatever in Philadelphia,
with
where he's
all
got
those
like
little connections, and he's like smoking a cigarette, looking like he's
crazy,
fried, and it's the same way, like that. That's what I'm saying. Like I feel like that it's like we are all looking for that validation of what we feel. And what we believe.
We just want people to agree with us. And we go, and that goes back to, I think, that basic primal human need to feel heard, to feel.
And that's what I was going to say. Yeah, like just to throw out that like somebody's heard me. Well, I've made my voice known. I mean, like really? I mean, what have you solved? See, to me, Nick, there's a difference in being heard and being listened to. To me.
Yeah, and I think in this situation, and I've made this comparison or talked about this, I think, a couple times before, but, people like this to me are no different than bullies.
Yeah.
And again, they're not necessarily, calling you names, pulling your hair, whatever, but, I used to talk, or I still talk to the youth and other kids and stuff that I come across sometimes about, I know
what y'all's doing downstairs on Wednesdays,
right? Yeah,
man.
We just sit there and stare at each other.
Yeah.
But again, you talk to them about, like, a bully and what that means. And I use this in a conversation about empathy, but really what I try to say is, these kids, they do what they do. They stand out in class, they make jokes, they disrupt class, they get the teacher mad at them, they get everybody looking at them. They do these stupid stuff, or this stupid stuff, because they're just trying to get that attention. They're trying to get somebody to look at. I call it negative attention. Yeah. They're doing negative, unhelpful things that aren't helping anybody, just so people will look at them, just so they'll feel some sort of value, just so they'll feel some sort of heard.
Right.
Whereas, again, you and I, most typical people know, or at least people who have received what is called, like unconditional love, which, somebody loves you regardless of what you've done, who you are, all that kind of stuff. If they grow up with that, then they don't have to, do those negative attention-seeking behaviors, because they already received that at home from their friends, their families, and all those sort of things. So I mean, a lot of these people out here who just, these internet trolls, these people, I almost feel for them in a sense of like they have to be lonely. Yeah. Like these people, if they are bold enough to get on somebody's video and to comment something outrageous, or to argue with somebody, or to stand up in the middle of class and cause a disruption and risk detention, something has got to be going on.
Yeah, and I mean, I look at it like, and to me, like, the comment was so outrageous that I'm like, what you've just said is 3 times as outrageous as what, because you are putting a level of perfection on people that people are not going to obtain. And to me, that's going to push more people away from even trying to get to know God, trying to get to know who Jesus is, trying to get to know the reason why he even came to do what he done. They're not even going to be open-minded to that if they look and go, well, now wait a minute, like, I this standard of perfection where I sin no more, and it's like, that's a commandment. Like, no, that's not a commandment. Like, my first rebuttal, I wanted to just type back and be like, well, why did Paul never get that thorn out of his side then? I mean, 2/3 of the New Testament, dude was on fire, dude done some great things. I mean, like, he's, he's like, to me, outside of Peter and the main, disciples / apostles, like, he is the main dude, and so I'm like sitting here thinking, I'm like, here's Paul doing all this crazy stuff, but yet he prays for God to take this thorn from his side, and he never does. You know what I'm saying?
To me, it's like and I think I've seen, the mentality of Dwight Schrute there in your comment section, but like the whole idea, the idea of it, to me, it seems like an abuse of a highly legalistic religious view. Like, I mean, they're sitting there thinking that, like, oh, once I give my life to Christ, then I am not supposed to sin anymore.
Right.
And if I do,
and you're not.
Then if I do, then I never had true salvation in the first place.
Right.
And so it's like you're constantly, if you're not perfect, you're not saved.
So then what do? Do you just lie to yourself whenever you sin? Do you just lie to yourself? Of course, and I don't know if you've been on TikTok lately, but like they limit your comment section. It's not like you can type like paragraphs back, but like I wanted to say, hey man, like if you've never been angry, frustrated, if you've never looked at a person the wrong way, if you've always answered the call of God, if you have been perfect on point, if you've tithed, if you've done everything that there is to do, which that's another hater, another troll for another video. I seem to be getting trolls, and I don't know why. I mean, maybe it's just I don't know. I mean, maybe it's I don't know what to do. But another guy was trolling and was talking about just an out of left field response. Let's make sure that we pay the pastors and the youth pastors and amen. Right? and like let's make sure that we take all the tithe money to make sure. And I said, man, and I said this back in a comment. I said, listen, I want you to, and I don't know where this dude's at. Like he's not where we are, but I said I want you to go to church and sit on your money. Don't give it. Just go to church. Don't give your money, but go to church. And I said, you might find that you trust God so much that you actually release and give up and trust in areas that you never thought you would. Like that's the thing about it, where people get so touchy about money, and they get so touchy about, why do I have to give you my money for? I mean, I don't know why you give. Why did Jesus say give Caesar? Give Caesar what is Caesar's?
Why do I have to pay taxes?
Yeah, why do you have to pay taxes? I mean, like there's questions.
Thanks, Jesus.
Yeah, I mean, but like I don't. It's just like anything else. I mean, what do you think that what we do in here. Like, how do you pay rent? How do you pay a payment? How do you pay the light bill? How do you pay water? How do you pay a mortgage? How do you how do you pay stuff? Like, how do you buy stuff? Like, the church was never supposed to be in buildings. Well, good luck telling that to everybody. I've been preaching that for what, a month now, 2 months. I get it. I'm with you. The church wasn't supposed to be boxed up, cooped up all the time. We were supposed to be out there doing our thing and in the streets and helping people, and then those people were supposed to be helping people. Like, we veered a long way away from Acts, and that's what we've been talking about a lot on Sundays and Wednesdays and things like that as we venture through the book of Acts. But, to me, like, there's just so many, and like you said, it seems like it's the loud voices that always get the attention, because the comments are just like, it makes me sometimes just want to be like, just hear somebody and just start saying the most outlandish things possible, where people are like, what? Like, what are you talking about? Just to, so people might like be like, okay, I'm going to check this dude out. And then whenever they get over there, then they start hearing the gospel, right? Like, it's, I know that's a messed up way, I guess, of
it's like,
really.
It's like throwing dynamite in a lake to fish.
Absolutely. Yeah, but hey, the fish are there.
Hey,
anyways,
you're still fed at the end of the day.
Exactly. So, to me, man, it's like, I know you're going to have to always deal with people like that. I get that. But I'm like, so I just, maybe it's just me being crazy, but like, I just want to understand more of like, why, like, what for, what drew you to make such a comment, and I will never forget this. I will never forget this. And I will tell on myself, because I am not perfect by any means. I've said that. I mean,
what? No,
I know.
Impossible.
Yeah, you need
what?
Jesus.
Oh,
you need
gosh.
Jesus. You've never been saved, Keenan. You're not perfect. You've never been saved. Then you don't know the righteousness of God. But I will tell on myself with this, man, because I was once in their shoes, because I made a comment. I will never forget this, man. It was right when COVID got started. And it was somebody had said something about, I don't know if it was about wages. There was that whole debate about that, about, who's essential, who's not, whatever. And it was from the governor, from his, it wouldn't, I don't know how that all works out. But anyways, but so I made a comment on there, and whenever I made that comment, it was my opinion, it was my viewpoint, and why I thought it even needed to be said.
Amen.
It's beyond me. Like, no joke.
Yeah,
I'm
I 100%.
I'm a big enough person to agree, or to agree. Like, and I'm a big enough person to say I should have never said it, because as I've learned as I mature year by year, what have I said now? If you're going to make a mountain out of it, you best be willing to die on that mountain. Because now you're going to start interjecting yourself with people. And, before I knew it, I had people, and it's always so easy because, people don't care that you're a pastor until, you know what I'm saying? Until you do something that they don't agree with. And then, oh my God, you're a pastor. You know what I'm saying?
You're a pastor, and you don't want to house a bunch of refugees.
I mean, like, it's one of those things, man. And so, again, hindsight 2020, never should have said it. My opinion's not going to change anything. It's one Facebook post. I should have just kept and I blame Taco Bell that day because I was eating unhealthy. I was sitting in the drive-through line for 15 minutes. I got bored, started reading the comments, so I just thought I'd do it. I'll never forget it. But anyways, so after I said it, again, it caused a storm, and I had people, commenting, and I thought you was a pastor, and you're supposed to, so on and so forth. And
did you think the governor was going to see your comment?
I don't know. I don't even know what I was doing. I really don't. And so then, I try to put myself back in those shoes of those people, like those comments I was reading. And I'm like, maybe a year down the road they'll be like, you know what, that was stupid. I should have never even said that. Like, what am I doing?
I find I usually, and when I'm in those situations, I usually regret when I have said something, and I'm thankful that I didn't when I could have.
Yeah, oh, absolutely.
It's just one of those things, I think, where we get emotional in the moment. We see something, and again, we react to it. We're emotional, we react, we put something out there. We don't think through, if I say this, then what is somebody else going to say?
Right, and that's where, I feel like we're praying, which I didn't do. I mean, again, transparency
Pray
here.
before you post.
Pray before you post. I mean, that is in all seriousness. I know that we cut up and we carry on, we have a good time. I try to have a good time. I don't know if everybody else does. Yeah, I mean, you know, but like before you throw something out there, like I don't care what it is. Again, you best be willing, if you're going to make a mountain out of it, to die on that mountain, because as soon as you post it, eyes are going to see it, and as soon as eyes see it, opinions are going to be formed, and you have to be able to navigate the people who agree with you, the people who don't agree with you, and the I guess the backlash or the reactions that's going to come from that. And I think if ever. What was that?
I have no idea.
Was that a burp?
I think
Did
so.
you eat?
But I don't
You
know.
don't even eat. You
Yeah,
didn't even eat before
anything.
this,
I don't
man.
know what that
was
was. It's
that?
fine.
Okay. Anyways, that came from Namibia.
Namibia.
Namibia. That came from your Namibia or whatever it is. I was Namibia. Anyways, so. You done got me off track.
You got yourself off track.
Yeah, I did well.
You reacted without thinking,
without praying. That's where we're at. Good job,
go.
man. Way to get me back on track.
Yeah.
But I mean, like literally, before you go to posting, like I don't care what it is. I was telling my wife the other day. This is so funny, man, that we're getting in on this just a little bit. But like I said, I love it when people blast other people on Facebook. And she said, "What's going on?" And so I read the post, and this person put pictures, listed names, and everything. And I'm like, wow.
I just read through something similar to that.
Yeah, and I'm like, oh my gosh, man. You know, like, and you know, I'm like, oh my goodness gracious. I'm like, does everybody in Facebook world need to know this? Do they need to know that maybe this person was a bad person in this instance and moment? I mean, like what? Like
in the situation I read, maybe.
Yeah, well,
I don't know about yours.
Right. Well, I don't know, man. You know, it's like it's not going to make the evening news, but you know, it made the Facebook headlines. So
that's all that matters.
Right. But you know, I'm like, man, does ever like what? I guess my question becomes, what's it going to solve? What's it going to change?
And I think that's a question we all need to ask ourselves before we post anything, before we say anything, before we do anything.
Yeah.
Asking ourselves that question is, you know, what's it going to? And I mean, and then just throw it. I mean, replying to that guy, what's it going to change? You know, I mean,
so you're saying I shouldn't wasting my time?
No.
Man.
I mean, in all honesty,
see, I need Jesus.
Right?
I need Jesus, bro.
He's not perfect.
Yeah. I need to eat more. See,
like, and that's something I actually learned from the other podcast I was talking about, John Chris podcast, comedian.
Yeah.
Like, because he was talking about like how he oftentimes, you know, he sees so much negative feedback, especially from the religious community, especially in his earlier days. You know, because I mean, he was a Christian comedian, and nobody likes making fun of Christian stuff, you know, like all that kind of stuff. And you know, he had to learn not to respond to negative comments, because he's very heavily affected by other people's opinions of him and all those sorts of things. And he was like, I had to learn, you know, after rehab, it was part of his learning cycle. It was like, I have to learn to let things, to read things and to let it go. Yeah. He's like, because, you know, there may be, you know, how many people saw your video?
I would rather not say.
Did more people watch your video than that person that commented negative things?
Yes.
So I mean, and his mindset was, you know, like all these people are saying great and amazing things about me. So
more
you know,
than two,
right?
Less than 522,000.
Oh my gosh. Anyway,
I'm just woo.
But
12. No,
the moral of the story.
12.
The moral of the story here is,
give me a follow on TikTok.
More people. Same. Pure negativity. But you know, again, the more there are more people out there who are supportive of you, who like what you have to say, who are touched by what you have to say, than the people who aren't.
Right.
And so it's like, why would you let, you know, one person mess up something that 500 people liked, or 5,000, or 500,000, or 5 million people? You know, like, why are you letting? Like, why are you letting 1% of your audience bother you? Pretty much. You know, and it's just like,
well,
because,
you know,
you have to let
that
those
loud
things.
voice, that loud voice, man, gets the attention.
It gets under your skin, and you get emotional, you get reactive, and so you say something, you do something. I just posted a video myself on Pure Negativity. Like within 5 minutes, somebody posted on there, and I was like, but you know, and what he said, I just agreed with him. You know, I didn't try to argue with him. I didn't try to make a big point. I didn't try to make a big fuss.
Well, did you agree, or did you just let it slide?
Well, okay, so the video I posted, again, if you're listening to this, you can go check it out. But the video I posted was talking about how we're often very quick to just tell somebody to pray harder or to pray more. You know, when they're dealing with something like a mental illness, TikTok. Like if they're dealing with like a mental illness or something like that, we tell them to pray about it. Yeah. But you know, my point was, you know, if we walked or we were driving down the road and there was somebody on the side of the road with a hole in their leg bleeding out, would we walk up to that person and say, pray about it? Or would we take them to a hospital? Would we take them to a doctor? Would we take them to somebody who had the wisdom, knowledge, and tools to help them?
Okay.
And so, I was breaking the point. I was like, yeah, it's important to pray. It's important. It's an important part of our walk with Christ. But, sometimes we need to point people in the direction of people who can help them, because God gave therapists, God gave doctors the wisdom, knowledge, and tools to help people with mental illness. He created medicines to help people with mental illness. And this guy commented, and I think he was trying to argue with what I had to say, because he was just trying to say, like, salvation comes only from believing that Jesus Christ died for our sins and came to this earth, and all this sort of stuff.
Okay.
Basically, I think he was trying to
agree with that,
yeah,
but like,
exactly.
but what does that have to do with taking somebody to the
exactly.
doctor?
And so I put on there, I said, absolutely agree. Because I think he was trying to argue. He was trying to bait me. He was trying to, get an argument started. But like, well, yeah, salvation, But I think what he was trying to say was, salvation from mental illness can only come through Jesus Christ. And I was like, why is it when people give their life to Christ, they still struggle with anxiety? Some people need help. Some people need extra help. Some people need a doctor, a therapist, psychotropic medication, all those things. Prayer helps. Prayer gets them to where they need to go. God gave them the money to go to that doctor. God gave them the insurance to get what they needed. God gave the, person who created the medicine the wisdom and knowledge to create it.
Right.
And there's so much more in there than, again, one person tries to create, a mountain out of a molehill.
Yeah.
They try to take things in a completely different direction than it was meant to be taken. Who knows if that person even watched half of the video I posted?
Yeah.
Same with yours. Who knows if that person watched half the video you posted?
Right.
And I think it's just important for us to take time. And again, as I was kind of going back to the Bible earlier, as the Bible tells us as Christians to call out false doctrine and to go against false teachers, but it also says to that to be careful of arguing with other people, because then we'll look like the world. We'll look like the exact opposite of who we're trying to portray.
Right.
And so there are often times, and that's something I've learned, is that I used to be that person who would get on Facebook and argue. I'd post in comment section, and then again, God hit me with that conviction of what are you changing? What good is your comment doing?
Right.
Are you changing this person's opinion? No.
Yeah.
Are you just making them mad and pushing them away from Christ? Yes.
Yes, absolutely.
And so, it's important for us to hold our tongues, hold our fingers back, pray before you post, pray before you comment, think about things before you react.
Yeah.
Because I think that it's just something that we've gotten so bad about. Christians are bad about it. Agnostics are bad about it. Atheists are bad about it. Everybody is bad about it.
Yeah.
They don't take the time to think. They don't take the time to listen. They don't take the time to create a good, well-instructed response. And I would say 9 times out of 10, I'd go 90% of the time, if you were to take 5 minutes, you're not even going to care about it anymore.
Right.
That post that you didn't agree with, that comment you didn't like, that policy you don't agree with, that whatever it is, you saw something. If you posted about it immediately, you're going to create a crap storm. People are going to argue with you. You're going to argue with them, and again, you're just pushing people away.
Yep.
But we're called as Christians to build bridges, not to push people away, not to build walls. We've talked about that time and time and time again.
Yeah.
So again, I think it's important for us as Christians. Again, we're held to a higher standard. We're supposed to be. We're supposed to hold ourselves to a higher standard. Not perfection.
Right. Oh man.
I guess we're holding ourselves to the standard of perfection, but we're never going to achieve it.
So if I don't, I've wore these clothes pretty much all day. Are they not perfect anymore?
Absolutely not. I mean, you're wearing camo pants with bright red socks and a white hoodie.
Shut up, man. I'm just trying to do my best. I'm trying to love life over here.
But I mean, again, all that to say, because I know that was a lot. And we've ranted a lot tonight. But I think really what I'm trying to drive home is the fact that as Christians, we are supposed to be above the world. And the world is arguing with each other. The world is reacting without thinking. The world is posting and causing fights and arguments and all these sorts of things. And we're not called to be like them. We're called to be different than them. And so as Christians, I think it's important, as we've said, I think it's kind of sticky, to pray before you post. Kind of keep that in the back of your mind. Pray before you post. Pray before you do anything. Before you go to a certain, before you go to a doctor, before you go to a restaurant, before you go to a grocery store, pray, especially if you're on Walmart. Please pray before you go there. You need to. Or a 5-star, or any convenience store.
I was gonna say any kind of retail situation,
or before you walk outside your house, pray. That's just how it should be. Period, right?
A lot, man.
But again, like I said, I know that's a whole lot, and we've kind of gone back and forth, ranted and raved about a lot of different things, and I think that's just the biggest thing to leave everybody with.
What do you think we made it any better?
I don't know, probably not. I mean, it's kind of, but I mean. And this is I know I pull a lot from John Chris podcast, but he was talking about he uses his podcast as like that's his way of ranting, and I think that that's kind of what we do sometimes. We use this podcast as our way to rant, to get our voices out there, because again, we're like everybody else. We're like those people in the comment section. We want people to agree with us. We want people to listen to us. We want people to learn from us. We want to encourage people. We want to motivate people, inspire people, help them to be better. And I think that's just another reason as to why we do it. We get out here. It's our way to get our voices out there, to leave our day behind us a little bit. Right. So that way we don't take it home with us.
Yeah.
But, and I think, and again, people listening to this, you all have those ways as well. There are things you do to de-stress and to declutter your mind and to rant and rave and all those sorts of things.
Yeah.
And I hope that you're encouraged and let you know that, hey, we're two Christians out here doing the same thing.
Oh, absolutely.
We make the same. Again, I guess we're not Christians because, we're not perfect, but we're not perfect. That's the thing I'm trying to say here is we're not perfect. We rant, we rave, we get mad, we get frustrated. Sometimes we post comments we shouldn't. We argue with people that we shouldn't. And I think that that's something that we all do. We're all guilty of at some point or another, especially if you have a phone or a computer.
Yeah, absolutely.
Or just in your job site. I mean, how many times have you said something to a coworker that you shouldn't have, or a client that you shouldn't have? And and I think it's just something that we need to be mindful of as Christians. Is we need to watch our tongue, be mindful of who we're talking to, who we're arguing with, what we're saying, what we're posting, and all that good stuff.
Absolutely, man. That's what I say too. So again, if you're going to make a mountain out of it, be sure that you're ready to die on it, man, because it's going to get crazy sometimes. So, again, pray before you post, man. We love you so much. Thank you so much. Keep on telling people about this podcast. And until we see you again next time, we love you and be blessed.
Even when you feel low, you can still go. Even when you feel slow, you can still go. Even when there's no hope, you can still go. I never answer to no, man, I still go. Go, 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 go.
As always, this is PKR, and for my sidekick, Nick, we say thank you very much for hitting that download button on People Suck, Love Them Anyways. Be sure to tell a friend, tell a family member to hit that download button as well. And as always, we say thank you. Be blessed.
Even when you feel low, you can still go. Even when you feel slow, you can still go. Even when there's no hope, you can still go. I never answer to no, man, I still go. Go, 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 go.